Okay, so as I mentioned in the previous video, I was going to try Better-Auth next, and I kind of got it to work somehow, Again, might not be the best implementation, but I, again, understood the main flow, what you have to set up and stuff. The main app, I have this test route here. This is important. I'm going to get into it in a second, and this is also important. But again, actually not again. I haven't shown you yet. This is the Better-Auth configuration. This is just so you get Open API documentation for the endpoints. This is important because, for example, you need Better-Auth to know how to communicate with your database, So I set that up here. Drizzle, that's what I'm using, Postgres, and I pass the schema here, or schema, if you will. I modified the user table because I wanted to have two additional fields here, so I set them up here. I use email and password, that's what I'm going to show you today. Use buns, built-in hash and verify functions. This is quite neat, like really. This is nice. I set this to false because I didn't like the fact that Better-Auth did not use UUID for the type of the field, when it generates the TypeScript, the Drizzle schema. For some reason, it uses text. So I said, no, I'm going to set that to false and let Postgres generate that for me. So that's the thing here. You set some stuff for the session. Here is where you set some sort of secondary storage. For example, Redis, I don't have this here, but you have the get, the set, and the delete functions. I read that somewhere, but you could use that for some rate limiting, caching, but I don't want to get into that right now. I'm going to show you what I meant by, for example, if I have that to UUID here, which is one of the functions or options here, if I have that to UUID there, I think Better-Auth is going to generate to set this to text. I think I saw that somewhere, and then I said no, this is not what I want. Postgres supports this and version 7, so I'm going to let the database generate that field for me, the ID one. So that's why I have that to false. And here, Better-Auth is going to generate a local version for these enums here. For example, it's going to use that version where you have, for example, I don't know, something, and then say, I don't know, text, and then it's going to say here, and then you have the values like A and B, and then you can say that the default one is going to say, I don't know, B or A, These are the only options that you have. So it's Better-Auth is going to generate this version, and I didn't want this version. I wanted proper Postgres enums, So when I get the model, the kind of the schema that Better-Auth needs, I kind of modified that, I created the enums, and I set the type, the proper type here, and set some default value. Another thing that Better-Auth does, it's going to use the old relations, not the new ones. This is the new ones that Drizzle uses, or is going to use. They are almost releasing the version 1.0 thing, but this is kind of stable, sort of, but Yeah, so Better-Auth is going to use the old one, so I had to modify this here to use defined relations, and that's basically it. Another thing I had to do. Better-Auth, the way it is now, it's not going to use this here. It's going to use the old way of doing things. So for this work here, I need to install a patch that's going to be migrated into Better-Auth, and this is the new way you're going to use Drizzle. You're going to install it like separate, you know. Before you had some Better-Auth and then adapters and then Drizzle and this kind of stuff, you know. And this is not, I mean, it does not work that way, you know, not with the new relations. But again, this is not important at this moment, unless you want to try this. So then you let me know, and then I'll show you what I mean. All right, we have the Better-Auth client setup. We have our schema. I hope I didn't modify anything here. Yeah, so basically we generate the this is the migration file, the generated one, after I have modified the TypeScript, the Drizzle schema. So that's what you get basically. And if you noticed, I also separate that into a particular schema. Otherwise, it's going to be public, and yeah, you get the drill, I think. And I do that here. Actually, I don't need this anymore because I'm using that via the schema here. All right, with all that out of the way, because this is important, otherwise you may not understand how things are working here under the hood. All right, so the auth macro, that's important. The auth macro is going to do what? It's going to get the session from Better-Auth, you know. This is that object we just configured here, you know. This is this here. It's going to use it to get a session. If we have one, we're going to return the user and the session. Otherwise, you return unauthorized. That's basically it. This comes from the documentation. You know, they kind of set this up, and also this here I copied from then basically, because that's how OpenAPI is going to generate the documentation. So you can see this here, for example, you know, all the endpoints and so on. So that's basically the reason why you kind of do this gymnastics here. Apart from that, you have your endpoints. Oh, actually, the user controller. The user controller, I just have a me page because I wanted to try something apart from Better-Auth, but you don't need this here because Better-Auth has its own, for example, get session. You know, you get this session and the user and stuff. But if you see, I have something here extra. These are the two extra routes that I defined here, separate from Better-Auth. Yeah, that's basically it. You mount that onto your macro, and when we mount that, then you can get those endpoints. This works. For this to work, you have to do this. Again, I used the instructions on Elysia's website and Better-Auth's website. Yeah, so if you look into their website, you're going to find this here. Again, once you have that, you have the documentation here generated for you. You can see that this is running because I have the server running somewhere here, have it running. So this works. You see that you have a bunch of endpoints here. The one I'm going to demonstrate for you now is for example, the sign up with the email. Where is it? This one here. For example, you need to pass some body data, and then, yeah, I'm going to demonstrate that for you right now in a second, and that's it. So, where is it? Here. I think I already have some. I'm going to send some the data, the required data. I'm not going to send any image or. Remember, I'm going to say true, but no callback URL and so on. I'm going to save that into this session here, and yeah, again, it's the same endpoint that you use or that you saw here, and that's basically it. Actually, I can try to do this here, so you see it works. If you look at the cookie here, there is nothing here, you see. But when I pass something like hey at example.com and then some password 123, I don't know, that user is going to get created here. You're going to see that we get some cookies here. See? And we can see that user on the database. For instance, I have no hey user here, but now I just got that user, the UUID version 7 and so on. That's basically here. And we also got the cookies here, you see. And now, for example, I can get the session here. And I get, basically, I can do updates. I can do update user. I'm going to say, I'm not called hey, I'm called hello. That's going to work there. That's going to work here. And yeah, it basically works, you know. For example, if I get my session now, I'm not going to get hey, I'm going to get hello. See? So that's basically it. If you need to know how everything is set up here, if you want the code or if you have some question, just let me know and I'll do that for you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.